The next day, Okoro left his home earlier before the cock crows. He quickly made his way to an unknown destination. He had quietly left his hut and tiptoe out of his compound. He doesn't want to alert Adaku or his household of his strange departure. The birds were chirping and enjoying the cool breeze. The dewdrops were falling from the leaves of the plants as he walked by. The grass was wet due to the dewdrops, but Okoro didn't care as he hurriedly walked on toward his destination. Once he has gotten to the outskirts of Udum, he quickly went over to where a big tree stood, which stands at the borderline of Udum and its neighboring villages. A lone figure was already there. It was a woman. It was as if the woman was waiting for someone. Okoro hastily and swiftly walked over her. On getting there, he turned his back against the woman, and the woman did the same also. "Why did you want to see me at this early hour of the day?" Okoro began first after they had acknowledged each other. "Don't you think it is time we tell them the truth?" the lady said solemnly. "I have thought about it all night, Nena, and I think we should tell our children the truth." Okoro said to the woman who was Nena, "Don't forget it was your late wife, Chindinma, who had pushed me into joining the Coven Witches in the past." Nena told Okoro. "And don't forget she wasn't the one who had pushed you into killing your husband and child. The oath we all took with her before she left would have made you much stronger than O.G.B.A.N.J.E herself, but your greediness wouldn't let you have it. It is one of the reasons why I had grown to dislike you all these years." Okoro said, "I know. I let my greediness to overshadowed me and I forgot the reason why Chidinma asked me to go. It is good for one to admit his or her mistake. You did well, Nena." "Well, what about what I had said earlier? Isn't it time for them to know, for my daughter to know the truth? We can't keep on hiding the truth from them, you know," Okoro said to Nena. "True. They are so much in love with themselves. I will tell Ebuka what he needed to know today. Hope he forgives me." Nena said after a while, "Same goes to me. I just hope my daughter find a place to forgive me for keeping such a secret from her." Okoro whispered mostly to himself, but Nena heard him. "It was Chidinma's idea right from the beginning. She made us go through the oath." "You are right," Okoro said. "The early morning sun has started showing its peak. We never saw each other. Let us do as we have said. Once I am home, I would take Ogbanje to the farm where I will tell her the whole truth and about the ancient secret, or better still, send her to you. The secret that made Chidinma gone in the first place. We shall see when the gods has decided us to see again. Oh, and last night the stars shone brighter than before. You should know what that means, don't you?" Okoro questioned as he adjusted his wrapper in his macho body. "We shall know the outcome of telling our children today. It is time for me to go." They quickly departed away in different directions. Ogbanje woke up very late with a slight headache. She had slept the morning and almost afternoon away before she woke up. She quickly had her bath, changed into one of beautiful wrappers, and came out from her hut. Adaku and Hamir were seen picking beans when O.G.B.A.N.J.E walked past them without greeting Adaku. "Dear O.G.B.A.N.J.E, am I now so little that you now walked past me without uttering any words of greetings?" Adaku bombasted O.G.B.A.N.J.E immediately she walked past them. "I don't blame you. It is your father whom I blame for giving you the liver to talk to me anyhow. If not for him, I would have dealt with you mercilessly." Adaku added. O.G.B.A.N.J.E stopped in long stride but didn't turn to look at them. "Adaku, or whatever they called you, I am not in the mood right now. My not greeting you won't reduce any blood from your veins, neither will it kill you." O.G.B.A.N.J.E told Adaku without turning to look at them. "This child has much liver than I thought. She doesn't have any atom respect for you at all," Hamir said as she eyed O.G.B.A.N.J.E badly. "Anyway, I don't have anything else to say, Adaku." O.G.B.A.N.J.E spoke and left them. "Did you see the way she talks back at me?" Adaku questioned as soon as O.G.B.A.N.J.E was out of hearing shot. "I saw it, but you deserve it. A lady you would have killed when she breathed her first air. But I'm still crafting out my plans, and bet me, O.G.B.A.N.J.E would walk on it without her knowing." Hamir boasted with pride. "I hope it works out." "You are finally awake?" Ugochi asked. She was the first person who had seen O.G.B.A.N.J.E walking up to them. Ugochi and her twin were just coming back from the stream. "I thought you would sleep all day, Ada," Uzochi put in. O.G.B.A.N.J.E smiled. "Your prayers did not work, now where is Papa?" O.G.B.A.N.J.E asked in a jovial way. He's at the barn. You know that the new yam festival is fast approaching, and he is selecting the ones he would present at the village square. You know everyone in Udum want to show how big their yams are. Uzochi answered. Okay, thank you, my sister, Ogbanje said gratefully. They left Ogbanje to drop their udu, earthen pot, while Ogbanje went to look for their father in the O.G.B.A.N.J.E. Father, good afternoon, Ogbanje greeted once she saw Okoro. Okoro, who had been so engrossed with what he was doing, didn't notice when she approached him, so she took him by surprise. Good afternoon, my daughter. I hope you had a great sleep, Okoro asked after his racing heart had calmed down. Yes, Papa, I did, but you should have woken me up when the day hasn't brightened up yet. I wanted you to rest well. After all, you are the only one who does almost all the house chores, Okoro said lovely at his daughter. Okay, Papa, if you say so, Ogbanje replied. Where is Adaku and the rest? Okoro asked. Adaku and Hamir were picking beans when I walked past them, and the twins just came in from the stream. Okay, there is something important I need you to know, Ada. It's about your mother, Okoro finally said. My mother? What about her? There is something I have been keeping away from you, Okoro said with guilt littered on his face. Papa, what can that be? Ogbanje questioned. Well, I need you to go to Nena's hut. She would be the one to tell you this secret I have been hiding away from you. She was surprised. Ebuka's mother also knows this same secret, you know? How? I thought you and her doesn't like each other, so how come she knows your secret? Ogbanje questioned, inquisitive. Okoro smiled at her. Well, it was all an act. You would soon know why. You can run off now to Nena but be back before dusk. Without saying a word, Ogbanje immediately rushed to meet Nena to know the secret her father spoke about. You came in time, Ada. I was about telling Ebuka, Nena had said when Ogbanje ran in. She was out of breath when she rushed in. Nena had ordered her 2 children to go and play outside, leaving she and Ebuka alone. They sat on the raffle mat Nena had laid out in the middle of the compound. She had earlier called Ebuka one side and whispered to him that she has something to say. I see your father was wise enough to had sent you here against the pry eyes of your stepmother, Nena added. Yes, Mama, he told me he has been keeping something away from me, Ogbanje said, and Nena nodded her head in acknowledgement. He is right. So what could that be, Mama? I am impatient here. Ebuka cut in. Heaving a sigh, Nena looked at the two in front of her. Ada, did you know your mother, Chidinma, is still alive? Nena said out of blue. Ogbanje burst out laughing immediately. My mother that has long been dead suddenly alive? Mbanu, I do not believe you, Ogbanje objected immediately. I know you would not believe me, Ada, but your mother is very much alive. She watches over you at all times, Ada. Hold on a second, Mama, do you mean to say my Alaolisa mother, her birth mother, is still alive? Nena nodded her head in confirmation. Yes, she was the one who had started all these right from the beginning. Your mother wanted you to live, Ada. Did you know you would have died alongside with your enemies? Your mother foresighted it and used her life. No, let me start from the very beginning so that you and Ebuka would understand it. The Nena said and faces Ebuka. Ebuka, right from when I gave birth to you, I had known you are Amadioha, and that came down to protect your lover, which is you, Ada. With their shocked and surprised face, Nena started the story. Your mother was the only daughter and child of the sun god and goddess Anyanwu. Your father and I were the servant of Anyanwu. You see, Anyanwu's son was the first creation Chukwuolisa had created. He became fast friends with Chukwuolisa and their friendship blossomed. Anyanwu, the sun god, was the mouthpiece of him. Nena began. Well, your mother, Chi, and your father were so much in love with each other, but they kept their love hidden away from her father. Her father wasn't someone that jokes easily. Anyanwu, the sun god, called up his daughter one day and told her she has a suitor coming to seek for her hand in marriage. Not wanting to let her father knew that she was already in love, she agreed to meet this said suitor. She met Agusi and didn't find any love in him. Despite showing her dislike for the god, her father insisted on her getting married to him. All her pleas fell on deaf ears, and the day for their wedding was fixed. She confided in her mother that she was in love with someone and even revealed who she was in love with, which turned out to be a gravely mistake. Nena said as her vision dimmed out. Her memories faded back. So what happened, Ni? Ebuka asked his mother. Nena blinked her eyes solemnly. Sorry, my children, I was only remembering those heydays, Nena replied and then continued. Well, after she had informed her mother, the goddess quickly told her husband who got your father arrested and slain him. Nena was interrupted by the outburst of O.G.B.A.N.J.E. What? You mean Anyanwu killed my father? O.G.B.A.N.J.E. questioned aghast. Well, what he did angered Chukwuolisa, the creator of all things. Chi went ahead to seek the face of Chukwuolisa. When he heard her story and the reason Anyanwu killed one of his creation, Chukwuolisa decided to revive him, but this time he would be born as a mere mortal. Your mother followed suit, and I decided to follow your mother, but we all came as mortals, Nena said as she stared at the two thoughtful faces in front of her. So how does your story connect with the fact that my mother is alive? O.G.B.A.N.J.E. asked, once she saw Nena wasn't saying anything after she had finished telling them the story of how they came down to dwell on Earth. Well, her father wasn't happy with the way things took a turn around, so he assigned a spirit to kill any children of Chi and told Agwusi that he would punish his daughter, that she would regret ever defying him. When she learnt of this, she called I and your father and told us of her plans. She sacrificed her life for you to live. She made me to join the witches so that I would know what Adaku planned, but I was carried away. She made Adaku believe it was her witchcraft that was killing your siblings. Before your mother died, she went and pleaded with Mother Moon to let her live as one of her children. The moon agreed and make her soul a star, so she became one of her daughter immediately she died. That way she would watch over you, Nena said in finality. She turned to look at O.G.B.A.N.J.E. squarely at her. I am sure your father had shown you the star, am I right? O.G.B.A.N.J.E. nodded her head in acknowledgement. Good, Nena said and turned to stare at her son. Ebuka, I am very tasty. Please help me with a cup of water, Nena said out of blue to Ebuka. Ebuka stood up and left to get water for her at the back of Nena's own hut. As soon as Ebuka was off earshot, she moved closing to O.G.B.A.N.J.E. O.G.B.A.N.J.E. was surprised when she saw Nena doing so. What is it, Mama? O.G.B.A.N.J.E. asked. The new girl in your compound is Adaku's daughter, Nena said lowly. What? Adaku's daughter? But how? I don't want Ebuka to know yet. Even Okoro doesn't know about this secret I want to tell you now. What secret, Mama? Your mother specific told me that Uhamiri is Okoro's daughter. I don't understand you, Mama. What I am trying to say is Uhamiri is your half-sister who wants to end you. It has been her mission, so you must tread with caution, Nena said. O.G.B.A.N.J.E. was bewildered with what she heard. And tell Ebuka to ask your mother, the queen mother of O.G.B.A.N.J.E.'s, to return back your memories. Returning back your memories will automatically return your full powers back. Be ahead of Uhamiri, use your brain, my child. Ebuka immediately came back and handed the cup of water to Nena, who drank it hastily. Ebuka was in his farm harvesting yams, maize, etc. that hot afternoon when he felt the presence of Uhamiri approaching him silently. Pretending not to notice her presence, he continued with his harvesting. Uhamiri cleared her throat to let Ebuka know of her presence. Ebuka halted in what he was doing and feigned in pretense on seeing her. She was holding a well-covered calabash of food in her right hand as she stared seductive at Ebuka. Again, Ebuka was dazzled by her beauty, but nevertheless he found it strange to why his spirit keeps warning him about the beautiful maiden. In fact, his spirit is not with ease on her being here. The glorious sun, Olama, you are so beautiful to the core, the one whom the Creator had made wonderfully with his own hands. I would have carried on and on with praises of how beautiful you are, but I have to ask what really brought you here, Ebuka finally asked, after making sure he had heap enough praises on Uhamiri to make her head swell like a peacock. Uhamiri smiled with pride on hearing Ebuka showering her with praises that would mean one thing. He had noticed her. She smiled very well at that thought. Well, I came here to give you the food I specially prepared for you today. Uhamiri answered, Really? That's so wonderful and thoughtful of you. I am really grateful for your kind gesture, thank you, Ebuka said thankfully, smiling. You're welcome, Ebuka, stretching out her hands towards Ebuka with the plate of food. Here is it. You can take it from me. I will wait until you've finished eating the food, Uhamiri said amidst a smile. Sorry to turn down your food you prepared. Has no one in this entire village or Ada ever told you that Ebuka me doesn't eat while he's working? And besides, come to think of it, we don't really know each other. We've only met once, and you suddenly woke up this fine morning to prepare what I did not ask you to. How did you get to know about this farmland when you just arrived a few days ago in this village? Anyway, to cut this long lectures, I am not hungry. You can take the food back home, or better still, I can direct you to where an old widow lives. Ada, do help her once in a while, so she will be appreciative to you when you give her this food. Ebuka finally stopped his talk and returned back to his work, dismissing Hamir quickly. The hurt Hamir felt by the rejection of Ebuka was evident on her face, and she didn't hide it, most especially when he made mention of her arch-enemy. Are you trying to telling me you won't eat this food I prepared for you with my very own hands? Hamir asked for the umpteenth time. After showering her with praises and making her believe he had interest on her, he decided to turn down her beautiful gesture. Not stopping from his work. Did I carried water in my mouth when I told you I won't eat it? I even told you I would help you and direct you to where an old widow live so that the food won't be a wastage. How dare you? Hamir suddenly bursted out livid and continued. How dare you insult me? Who do you think you are? Do you know who is standing in front of you? The gods of this land knows very well I did not in any form insulted you, and to the last question you asked, are you not Hamir, the stranger Adaku brought to live with them from I don't know? Who else can you be if not what I just said now? Ebuka asked in wonder, closing her eyes to swallow her anger which was fast developing. You are just lucky, Ebuka. Just count your stars. With that, she walked out of him in an angry manner, leaving Ebuka astonished even more. He said it. This strange, beautiful girl is a puzzle to crack. He would find out who she is. Something about her smells fishy. Hamir walked angrily into the compound of Okoro and went straight to the kitchen where she knew Adaku was. Adaku was startled when she saw the look on her. What is it? Who provoked you this hot afternoon, eh? Adaku asked immediately. She saw the monstrous look on Hamir's face. She knew it might connect with the food she went to give Ebuka. Did Ebuka not like the food? She added as Hamir wasn't showing any form of answering her previous question. That would have been better if he didn't like the food. He rejected the food. Can you imagine, Adaku? Ebuka rejected the food I brought for him. He made me appear like a fool to him today. He should count himself lucky that my feelings for him are unalloyed. If not, he would have tasted my wrath by now. Hamir told Adaku in a very loud, angry tone. Adaku was glad she has sent her children with ogbanje to the stream to fetch water for her. If not, they would have heard the outburst of Hamir now. And thankfully enough, Okoro wasn't at home. He had left to visit a friend of his. Shh! Do you want to tell the whole villagers? Hush down a little bit, Biko, Adaku said, trying to reprimand. I don't bloody care. They should hear for all I care. She shouted. Do you also know that he made mention of that stupid ogbanje in my presence? Hamir added. Ewo, it will feel like rubbing salt to an injury. You don't need to tell me that. Hamir interjected. So what are your next steps? I mean your next plan, since this one could not work. Adaku questioned as she stared bewildered at her daughter. Clear off ogbanje from the surface of the earth, but first I would need to plan. Ogbanje might have the powers to prevent my attacks, but I have the brains to make my attack work on her. Hamir replied with a confident, her face facing the sky, that Adaku was surprised by that. And how do you intend on doing that? Hamir lowered her head to look at Adaku sheepishly. It's none of your business, woman. Papa, do you know it has been so long you told us a folklore story? Ugochi began that night after they had all eaten to their satisfaction. Hamir had earlier on retracted into her hut, giving a flimsy excuse of being tried, hence her early retirement. Adaku followed suit immediately. Yes, Papa, Uzochi said in support of her twin sister. I know that my daughters, but there would be no stories for any of you today. Truth be told, I am not in any mood of telling story. Okoro said, apologetic to the twins. Okay, Papa, but tomorrow is another day and you must not fail us by telling stories to us. Uzochi said warmly to her father. The twins understand. Uzochi and Ugochi stood up and quickly retired to their hut, leaving only Ogbanje and Okoro to themselves. Did Niena told you anything today? Okoro questioned softly when no one was listening. Yes, Papa, she told me everything. Ogbanje answered truthfully to Okoro. Nyokuji abode. What brings you here, my beloved brother? Is it Ikenga again? Nyokuji asked once he saw his brother Amadioha in his abode. I am not here because of Ikenga. Since these past days I haven't heard or seen Ikenga. But like I said, that is not the reason why I am here, Amadioha told his brother. Really? What then can that be? Tell me what troubles you than Ikenga's own. Someone, a stranger, is living with my Alaolisa. She came with Adaku, but I am very suspicious of her. That is why I am here to seek your help into looking after this stranger for me. Amadioha finally told his brother his troubles. And who can that be? Nyokuji asked. She is being known as Uhamiri, Amadioha said, and proceeded in showing Nyokuji the sleeping form of Uhamiri. But Nyokuji was smitten to the ground when he saw how beautiful and angelic this Uhamiri was. She was truly beautiful. He wasn't listening to whatever Amadioha was saying again. He was already in love with this stranger.